Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Have you seen this woman? Do you know who this woman is? This woman is Donna Brazile. Donna Brazile was chair of the Democratic National Committee after the corrupt and failed chair, Debra Wasserman Schultz, stepped down from that committee. Now, this is notable since Donna Brazile was fired from CNN for being corrupt herself. She was passing information from CNN to the Clinton campaign in its form of debate questions. Got caught, lied about it, was fired, but she wasn't corrupt enough to run the Democratic National Committee after being fired from CNN. Now, I show this because this is somewhat of a momentous day, even though it's not all that momentous at all, because we don't necessarily have any new information that we didn't have before. What I'm talking about is, I don't want to be cryptic. Politico came out with an article today, November 2nd, of Donna Brazile, essentially saying, we rigged it. You were right. We rigged it. Remember for the past year when we lied through our teeth saying it was a fair process? And do you remember when we lied after the unfair process, saying that it was a fair process and it was a great election and Bernie Sanders just lost? Do you remember that? Do you remember when you bitched and moaned about it as leftists and progressives? They wagged their finger at you and they put you in a corner and they said, you're just mad that you lost. You've been a sore loser. You've been a sore loser. There's no proof of cheating. There's no proof of cheating. Then WikiLeaks comes out. And it's, oh, that's from Russia. You can't read that. That's from Russia. That's Russia information. You understand the information is real, but it's from Russia. You can't accept that. Donna Brazile comes out, poor Donna. And I'm going to explain why I'm saying poor Donna. Because I know a lot of people want to give her credit for this. Smidget. And I'm going to get into why. I wanted to run to the closest microphone I could find this morning when one of my wise and awesome subscribers sent me this link and said, have you seen this? And I said, oh my God, and no I haven't, poor Donna. And I proceeded to tell my wife. My wife said, po Donna. In this article that Donna Brazile writes herself, supposedly, she cast herself, mind you, she's hawking a book, by the way, that's why she wrote the article, but she's essentially the hapless soldier, the person who didn't know what was going on, a dandelion in a field of corruption, where Bernie Sanders came to her and said, I need you to get to the bottom of this. Now, she makes the point, notes that Russia hacked them. That's in the article, if I'm not mistaken. I need to look at the article again real quick, and I'm going to read it. Notes Russia, throws Russia in. We were attacked by a foreign government. Same thing she said on Trevor Noah. But then proceeds to go along this line of, I went into this not knowing what to expect. And Debra Wasserman Schultz was horrible with finances. Mind you, she threw everybody under the bus. She threw the DNC under the bus, Debra Wasserman Schultz under the bus, Obama under the bus, Hillary Clinton under the bus. She threw everybody under the bus. Except for her. She was innocent. She was a dandelion. I was just here. I was just trying to help. Now, the beautiful part about this is she goes into this story that's, honestly, 75% of it is probably true. It's like, you're like, okay. So you were the hapless dandelion that was in a field of corruption that you didn't know what was taking place. Mind you, she even implicates Clinton in what they would consider a crime. Now, what I mean is, in this particular thing, she's having a conversation with the audience. She's explaining what happens from her perspective. She goes in, she has a conversation with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is mad because Bernie Sanders is making this point that these guys are cheating us. We're being cheated. And the other person, for Hillary Clinton, I think Robert Moore, is making this point that you guys aren't being cheated. You guys are just angry that you guys are losers. You guys being sore losers. And that ultimately you're going to hurt down ticket ballots. And you're accusing Hillary Clinton of a crime. Now, the crime that they were accusing Hillary Clinton of was essentially taking more money from that campaigns. You have a finite amount of money that you can take for a campaign. I think it's like $2,700. If you take more than that, that's against the law. Now, Bernie Sanders was like, you guys are taking more money than you're supposed to take, and the DNC is rigged against us. They said you're a sore loser, and that's not true, and that's not taking place, and you're accusing us in this campaign and this beautiful woman, Hillary Clinton, who has integrity, that superhuman integrity, of a crime. Donna Brazile says, this is what I went into. And she says, I told Bernie, I'd get to the bottom of it, Bernie. I'd get to the bottom of it. And she says she snoops around. She does her detective thing. And she found something curious. That for the most part, all communications, if she, even her, wanted to write a press release, had to go through Brooklyn. It had to go through Hillary Clinton headquarters. Well, that's interesting. I'm head of the DNC. I can't write a press release without getting it approved. As she looked further into it, she saw for herself there's a deal between the Hillary Clinton campaign and the state parties. Meaning, because you have that limit, there's a fixed amount that you can take. But Obama ran the DNC into the ground, meaning they were in massive amounts of debt. And because they were in massive amounts of debt, the person who was going to give them the money, get them out that debt, was Hillary Clinton, meaning the state parties was beholden to Hillary Clinton. She had them by the purse strings. You guys are barely in existence. If you're going to continue your existence, you're going to bow down. You're going to bend the knee. And Hillary Clinton gave him some money. A little bit. She titrated the money to him. Now, the wild part about this is I recounted this exact same story like 6, 7, 8 months ago. Just saying. Just saying. It came out of Counterpunch. It came out of Politico. But I guess Donna Brazile was saying it, so it's different. Fair enough. And so, think of it this way. Your parties were ran to the ground in the presidential election. Obama ran the parties into the ground. Your party is in massive amounts of debt. The presidential campaign is running, and Hillary Clinton is going to raise $1 billion. Now, Hillary Clinton could only take in, let's say, $2,700 per person. And taking this amount in, it may not be $2,700, but just something like that, $2,700. When taking that particular amount in, that's your max. Hillary Clinton would say, well, you can give to the state parties. So now, if you include all the state parties, that amount goes from $2,700 to something like $300,000, more than $300,000, because you can give a certain amount that's more than that $2,700 to each of the state parties. The state parties would take that cash, say thank you very much, and they would funnel that money back into the pockets of Hillary Clinton, who would leave them with, if I remember in the other article in Counterpunch, it was like she would take 90-something% of the proceeds. That's amazing. That's amazing. So when you were being accused of cheating, you were being accused of cheating. You were cheating. Now, the wild part about this is Donna Brazile said she saw the letter that made the connection between those two things, meaning she saw the agreement herself. The agreement saying the Hillary Clinton will essentially run the Democratic operations, etc., 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 finance, communications, etc. So when Sanders and his ilk, his supporters, leftists, socialists, people who are to the left, independents, some even Trumpsters, when they looked at this and says, holy shit, it looks like you're rigging the process against the guy that you're running against. And for months on end, you consistently said, we are not. You guys are crazy. You guys are crazy. When the articles came out showing that Hillary Clinton was taking money from the state coffers in order to fund her campaign, something that was massively against the law, you guys are crazy. You guys are being sore losers. For months, you guys have lied through your teeth. And we understood you were lying. But now we have this thing with somebody who's in the DNC itself, who's the chair of the DNC, who comes out saying you guys were lying. I'm sorry, we were lying. We were lying. We lied. We consistently lied. She said, she said, I called Bernie when I found the news, when I found the letter showing why all of the communications and finances and everything else, why the DNC took control, why Hillary Clinton took control of essentially the DNC operations. Now, the amazing part of this was months before the campaign, by the way, before somebody won. And she notes it in the political piece, that the primaries hadn't even finished. Hillary Clinton had taken control of the party apparatus and was getting all of the money that was coming into those coffers months and months and months and months before anybody had ever even chosen a person. That's amazing, man. Look, the admission itself is amazing. The part I love this piece because Donna Brazile has this tendency to kind of it's her political tell. It's her politics. This is the way she engages. She tries to make herself more affable in this way, but she's like, I put on gospel music before I did this, and then my wife would say, she was like, you have a tendency to try to make things seem more epic than what they actually are. It's because I see them in those epic terms, and I'm going to recount it first, and then I'm going to read it because I think it's awesome. I'm going to recount it the way I had it in my head, where at the end of it she says, I called Bernie Sanders and I told him the truth. That essentially, yes, it was rigged. You're right, it was rigged. And I put the phone down and I wept. She said, I wept. She didn't use the term weep. I'm using the term weep because I think weep is more epic. But she's like, I cried. Not because of, I was angry, but it's time to move on. It's time to move on. I want to read this. Before I bring in the audience, I want to read this. Not the whole thing. Maybe most of it. I'll go through it briskly. But I want to read this. It's fucking amazing. Inside Hillary Clinton's secret takeover of the DNC. By the way, she's talking about, like I said before. And look, the reason why I say Donna Brazile doesn't give a pat on the back on this, she's excluding herself from blame. I had nothing to do about this. I was a hapless soldier. I was the innocent victim. I was thrown into this mess and I needed to make things right. Bernie Sanders, he whispered in my ear and I told him I'll get to the bottom of it, Bernie. You and I, boys, we were on the same team Sanders. And I got to the bottom of it. Like, I'm the hapless victim. I knew nothing about it. Yes, I was fired from my last job for being a good soldier, passing information to the Clinton campaign, but beyond that, I knew nothing about the corruption and the crazy shit that was going on in the DNC. I was just as surprised as everyone else. It was Obama's fault. It was Hillary Clinton's fault. It was the DNC's fault. It was everybody else's fault except Donna Brazile. Donna Brazile was a fucking angel. She was a saint. She was a saint. She had wings. It was fucking amazing. Oh, I know what I was saying. So, look. Part of this is, I had nothing to do with this. That's one part. Part of this is also 15 million people left the party. I'm talking about strategy at this point, the strategic point of this. And yes, I'm being a little cynical when I'm saying this, but I think I may be right. You have a problem as a Democratic Party. Shit, I said I was going to read the article. All right, I read the article first, and we'll talk about it after. No. I talk about it first. I read the article after, because anybody can pick up the article and read. You're the Democratic Party. You have a problem. You have a fundamental problem, and you realized this problem is not going away. 15 million people have streamed out of our party like people from a burning boat. They're leaving. They left. They're gone. A large segment of those people are completely antagonistic towards us and our aims, meaning we put a perfectly nice African-American woman, or she looks African-American, Kamala Harris, and they hated her. They attacked her. They went after her. We put up Cory Booker, African-American man. He's a goddamn superhero. They attacked him too. I don't understand with these people. I don't understand them. What do they want? Do they really want people to be a populace and do actual things that would benefit the society? Fuck, man. We can't do that. What can we do? You have a fundamental problem. They understand that we cheated their guy. And they understand that every time we say something about unity and every time we say something about awesome primaries and everything else, they understand that we are lying through our teeth and they hate us that much more every time it comes out of their mouth. We have some people even talking about a third party. I mean, shit, man. Nina Turner was out there talking about a third party. Bernie Sanders is punching us in the gut every time he comes out on stage. Tulsi Gabbard has even released a video punching us in the face. What are we going to do? We have problems. How do we get out of this thicket without actually owning up to the problems that are associated with our party? Hey, I know. Send somebody out to give an admission. But the admission is just her giving an admission without necessarily bringing the entire party into the admission itself. You can have an element without necessarily doing the whole thing. Now, Donna Brazile's case, you could say, well, look, Donna Brazile wasn't thinking from the term of the whole. Donna Brazile was just trying to cover her own ass, so that she wrote her own quote-unquote what happened book. That's her version of the book. That may be true, but I think it's also potentially true that you have a party that needs to solve a problem, and they don't necessarily want to solve it in the most straightforward way. The most straightforward way is, okay, you're right. We cheated Bernie Sanders. And in addition to cheating Bernie Sanders, we dropped the ball on the things that we were supposed to represent. You're right. We've moved too far to the right. Now, that would be too much. That would be too over the top. That would be far, far too honest. And at the end of the day, people don't necessarily like seeming weak. They want to seem strong. Sending Donna Brazile out here to essentially say everybody lied, I would imagine, is the party's way of trying to get under that. Does that help the party get under it, though? Am I wrong on this? I mean, I could be wrong on this. Yeah, I could be wrong on this. Of course I could be wrong. I mean, my feeling of it was, if they have a problem, how do you solve that problem? Certainly they understand what they've been doing up to this point hasn't been working. They've lost everything throughout the entire country. And you have this aspect of the population that hates your guts. How do you solve that riddle? How do you solve that riddle? It's very possible that there is no strategy associated with this. It's very possible that Donna Brazile is just putting out a book saying, I had nothing to do with this. This was not on me. I am a goddamn saint. This was everybody else's fault. That's all possible too. So fair enough. Fair enough. I may be reading too much into it. Fair enough. All right, let me read this. Inside Hillary Clinton's secret takeover of the DNC. When I was asked to run the Democratic Party after the Russia hacked our emails, I stumbled onto a shocking truth about the Clinton campaign. Did you now? And not to mention, it wasn't all that shocking. Everybody knew. It's the most widely known secret on the planet. Just because you guys didn't necessarily want to own up to the fact that you rigged the election, everybody else was completely aware. Trust me. When you guys were on stage and you were dancing across stage and people were booing Tom Perez, why do you think they were booing Tom Perez? Why do you think they were booing you? Why do you think that bird shit on Tom Perez when he was out in public? I know the bird didn't know, but I'm just saying. Man did it. Before I called Bernie Sanders, I lit a candle in my living room and put on some gospel music. I wanted to center myself for what I knew would be an emotional phone call. Did you know? I had promised Bernie when I took the helm of the Democratic National Committee after the convention that I would get to the bottom of whether Hillary Clinton's team had rigged the nomination process as a cache of emails stolen by Russian hackers and posted online had suggested. I'd have my suspicions from the moment I walked into the door of the DNC or so earlier based on the leaked emails, but who knew if some of them might have been forged? I needed to have solid proof, and so did Bernie. So Donna Brazile was reading WikiLeaks. Did Donna Brazile find Donna Brazile's email saying that Donna Brazile was passing stuff? Oh man, it's fucking amazing. Up until this point, anytime you bring up WikiLeaks to Donna Brazile, she would say that was from Russia. That was from Russia. All right, let's keep going. So I followed the money. My predecessor, she's about to throw Debbie under the bus. So I followed the money. My predecessor, Florida, Debra Wasserman Schultz, had not been the most active chair in fundraising at the time when President Obama's neglect had left the party in significant debt. As Hillary's campaign gained momentum, she resolved the party's debt and put it on a starvation diet. It had become dependent on her campaign for survival, for which she expected to wield control of the operations. She should have said they expected her to bend the knee, because that's exactly what took place. Debbie was not a good manager. She was not very interested in controlling the party. She let Clinton's headquarters in Brooklyn do as it desired, so she did not have to inform the party officers how bad the situation was. How much control Brooklyn had and for how long was still something I had been trying to uncover for the last few weeks. Now that's one way to put it. Debra Wasserman Schultz wasn't a good manager. She was bad at her job. You could say that. You could also say she gave Hillary Clinton that control because she wanted Hillary Clinton to win. And so if Hillary Clinton wanted to have operations, simpler to have operations. I want you to win. Here are operations. Is it that she wasn't a good manager, or was it she was just corrupt? Which one was it? Is the situation so bad where you have to use that she was a bad manager to hide the fact that she was corrupt? And if that's where we are, oh man, that's a bad place to be in. That's a bad place to be in. Now, I'm trying to think of an analogy. It's like saying I cut my leg off, or I accidentally fell down the steps. Yeah, I'm trying to think of an analogy. Something immensely embarrassing. It's like you walk into work and you're like you have to say something like I peed on myself in order to hide the fact that you actually shit on yourself. Something like that. Something insane. She's a bad manager. Or was she just corrupt? She was friends with Hillary Clinton. She wanted Hillary Clinton to win. What's simpler? I just let you run operations. I don't need to handle this. Yeah. By September 7th, the day I called Bernie, I had found my proof, and it broke my heart. The Saturday morning after the convention in July, I called Gary Gensler, the chief financial officer for Hillary Clinton's campaign. He wasted no words. He told me the Democratic Party was broke and $2 million in debt. What? I screamed. I'm an officer of the party and they've been telling me that everything is fine and they were raising money with no problems. That wasn't true, he said. Officials from Hillary's campaign had taken a look at the DNC books. Obama left the party $24 million in debt, $15 million in bank debt, and more than $8 million in owed to vendors after the 2012 campaign, and had been trying to pay it off very slowly. Obama's campaign was not scheduled to pay it off until 2016. Hillary for America and the Hillary Victory Fund, its joint fundraising vehicle for the DNC, had taken care of 80% of the remaining debt in 2016, about $10 million, and placed the party on an allowance. Oh, she's a moderate even in managing the books for the DNC. That's awesome. Mind you, that allowance so she can use the money for herself. So moderate thing is bullshit. I'm just joking. If I didn't know about this, I assumed that none of the officers knew about it either. I mean, you were the person in charge. If you didn't know, of course nobody else knew. That was just Debbie's way. In my experience, she didn't come to the officers of the DNC for advice and counsel. She seemed to make decisions on her own and let us know at the last minute what she had decided. And she'd done when she told us about the hacking only minutes before the Washington Post broke the news. As she had done when she told us about the hacking. Okay. As she had done when she told us about the hacking only minutes before Washington Post broke the news. Fair enough. Or she just gave operations over to Hillary Clinton because she wanted Hillary Clinton to win. It might have been Debbie's way. It might have also been Debbie's way to cheat. Which, mind you, is the entire point of this article. Look, at the end of the day, Donna Brazile is sticking a shiv in Debra Wasserman Schultz without necessarily coming out and sticking a shiv in Debra Wasserman Schultz. Saying that the woman was bad at her job, and you can read into it to see like, oh man, this looks pretty bad. She didn't tell us about things until minutes before it happens. I get it, man. She's trying to give this idea of what's taking place. And again, Donna Brazile knew nothing about it. She came into a fuckfest, and she was trying to solve it. She was a hapless soldier. She just didn't know. The angel. On the phone, Gary told me that DNC had needed a $2 million loan, which the campaign had arranged. No, that can't be true, I said. The party cannot take out a loan without the unanimous agreement of all the officers. Whatever. Gary, how did they do this without me knowing that ass? I don't know how Debbie relates to the officers, Gary said. He described the party as fully under the control of the Hillary campaign, which seems to confirm suspicions of the Bernie Sanders camp. The campaign had the DNC on life support, giving it money only every month to meet its basic expenses, while the campaign was using the party as a fundraising clearinghouse. Under the FEC law, an individual can contribute a maximum of $2,700 directly to the presidential campaign. But the limits are much higher for contributions to state parties and party national committees. And mind you, this is where she's essentially saying Hillary Clinton is breaking campaign finance laws. Individuals had maxed out their $2,700 contribution limit to the campaign could write an additional check for $353,400 to the Hillary Victory Fund. That figure represented $10,000 to each of the 32 state parties who were part of the Victory Fund agreement, $320,000, and $33,400 to the DNC. The money will be deposited in the states first and transferred to the DNC shortly after that. The money in the battleground states usually stayed in that state, but all other states funneled that money directly to the DNC, which quickly transferred the money to Brooklyn. That's a lot of legal, well, it's not legalese, but there's a lot of numbers in that. Basically, what it boils down to is they have finance limits that they can take as individual candidates. The way that Hillary Clinton was able to get around that is because she had control of Brooklyn office, or because she had control of the DNC. Any money that was given to the DNC, even in state parties, made its way to Brooklyn to be used for Hillary Clinton, completely skirting campaign finance laws. Mind you, Donna Brazile brought up the fact when she was talking about campaign finance laws in this piece, to some degree she's sticking a shiv in Hillary Clinton too. I don't understand how that's not breaking campaign finance laws, like over the top breaking campaign finance laws. You've just said that there is a $2,700 limit on how much money a candidate can take. Then you've just said that exact same candidate had control of the Democratic National Committee, before a decision was made on who was actually going to win the party's nomination, that person funneled the money directly to her, meaning the overwhelming majority of the money that was coming in was going to her campaign. Now, if you're telling me that she has $2,700 limit that she can take and the money is being funneled directly to her campaign, I understand that you can say, well, technically it went to the state parties first. But come on, if it ended up in the exact same place, then what was the point of the law in the first place? If the point of the law was people can't get more than $2,700 from a particular source, and you're telling me that they found a way to literally skirt that law and give that person more than that $2,700 because some of these are massive donations, that sounds like that's breaking campaign finance laws. That literally over the top breaking of campaign finance laws. Wait, I said. That victory fund was supposed to be for whoever was the nominee and the state party races. You're telling me that Hillary has been controlling it since before she got the nominations? Gary said the campaign had to do it or the party would collapse. That's so weak. They had to do it or we'd collapse. That was the deal that Robbie struck with Debbie, he explained, referring to the campaign manager, Robbie Mook. It was to sustain the DNC. We sent the party nearly $20 million from September until the convention and more to prepare for the election. What's the burn rate, Gary? I'm not going to go into that because that's a little thing. But basically, you get the point. They were on life support. The Democratic National Committee essentially was broke. Democrats, the broke. State parties, they were broke. Hillary Clinton goes into the race. They make a deal. Debra Wasserman Schultz makes a deal with the Hillary Clinton campaign that says, we will pay this stuff off. We would give you cash to keep you going under the condition that you bend the knee and you fucking worship Hillary Clinton. Even before the nomination was up. That's the key point. The nomination hadn't been chosen. Nobody chose Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton at that point, before the nomination, before people had even finished voting, she had already made the decision that she herself would be the nominee. And that all this other stuff was just formality. And I am so confident that I'm going to be the nominee. I'm just going to take the money before the nominee is even chosen. That's awesome. That's awesome. Right around the time of the convention, the leaked emails revealed Hillary's campaign was grabbing money from the state parties for its own purposes, leaving the states with very little to support down-ticket races. A political story published on May 2nd described the big fundraising vehicle that she had launched through the states the summer before, quoting a vow that she would rebuild the party from the ground up. When our state parties are strong, we win. That's what will happen. Think about that. Think about that. We will rebuild it from the ground up. In whose image? In whose image? Now, the reason I'm asking, whose image are you rebuilding this? You have full control over the state party apparatus as a Democratic Party at this point. Election hasn't been chosen. You have full control over it. I mean, certainly, I guess what I'm getting at is, yeah, she took control of the state party apparatus before the election was chosen. That's what I'm getting at. Yet the states keep half of less than 1% of the $82 million that they amassed from the extravagant fundraisers Hillary campaign was holding, just as Gary had described to me when he and I talked in August. When the political story described the arrangement as essentially money laundering, which it was, for the Clinton campaign, Hillary's people were outraged at being accused of doing something shady. But Bernie's people were angry for their own reasons, saying that this was part of the calculated strategy to throw the nomination to Hillary Clinton. Are you telling me that it wasn't? Are you telling me that it wasn't? Do you think she was taking the money and control of the party just for taking control of the money and party's sake? Like, I turn on water in my shower just to hear water fall to the ground. I don't even get it. Hillary Clinton. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. I control the party apparatus from jump. Bernie Sanders said, you guys are rigging this. And they're saying, no, we're bristling at you accusing us of rigging it because we're actually rigging it. We're actually rigging it. I wanted to believe Hillary. This is Brazil. I wanted to believe Hillary, who made campaign finance reform part of her platform. But I had made this pledge to Bernie and did not want to disappoint him. Oh, her integrity is beyond bounds. I kept asking the party lawyers at the DNC to show me the agreement that the party had made for sharing money that they raised. But there was a lot of shuffling of feet and looking the other way. When I got back from my vacation in Martha's Vineyard, oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. I'm glad she can travel to Martha Vineyard. I at last found the document that described it all. The joint fundraising agreement between the DNC, the Hillary Victory Fund, the Hillary Victory Fund, and Hillary for America. The agreement signed by Amy Darcy, the former CEO of the DNC, and Robbie Mook with a copy of Mark Elias specified that in exchange for raising money and investing in the DNC, Hillary would control the party's finances, strategy, and all the money raised. Let me read that again. The agreement signed by Amy Darcy, the former CEO of the DNC, Robbie Mook, with a copy to Mark Elias, specified that in exchange for raising money and investing in the DNC, Hillary would control the party's finances, strategy, and all the money raised. That sounds like an amazing deal to make. If you really wanted somebody to win, you were just friends, you were just looking for some kind of legal reason to allow the shit to take place. That's amazing. So when we say that the DNC was behaving in ways that seemed to be unfair, putting it extraordinarily mildly, to one of the candidates, that candidate being Bernie Sanders, and you call us liars, and you said we were sore losers, and you wagged your finger at us, and you screamed at us and told us to vote for Hillary Clinton, to bow our heads and bend our knee because the person who we were supporting has turned around and supported Hillary Clinton. When you told us that, and we kept saying, it looks like this is a rigged process. It looked like you cheated. It looked like you wanted a particular person to win, and it looked like the things that you were doing was centered around making sure that particular person won. It's in the goddamn document. Finances, strategy, and all the money raised. I just want to put emphasis on strategy. How we are going to run our campaigns for the DNC, how we're going to behave as the DNC, is essentially going to be based upon what Hillary Clinton tells us to do, because she has the purse strings for the Democratic Party. That's amazing. That's amazing. This is an amazing admission, man. This is an amazing admission. She is pulling out the knives in this. And maybe this is, I really want to sell my book. I want to go back to Martha's Vineyard. So I'm taking out the knives. Her campaign had the right of refusal of who would be the party's communications director, and it would make final decisions on all of the staff. The DNC was also required to consult with the campaign about all staffing, budgeting, data analytics, and mailing. It's a fair process. There's nothing to see here. It's completely fair. You guys are being sore losers. Trust us. As the Hillary campaign, you can trust us. I mean, after all, we have all control, or we had to consult about all staffing, budgeting, data analytics, and mailings. I wonder, did they consult with Bernie Sanders about all this stuff also? I wonder, did they do that? I had been wondering why it was that I couldn't write a press release without passing it through Brooklyn. Well, here's my answer. Here's your answer indeed. Now, she's making the point that once a person wins the nomination, that person does take more control of the party apparatus. But she also makes the point that this was months before the person was chosen. Hillary Clinton had essentially bought the Democratic Party. It's like, usually they're just bought by their corporate donors. Hillary Clinton was the middleman. She says, look, they'll pay me, I'll pay you, I'll exert control over the party apparatus, I could be the middleman. I could be Amazon. That's amazing. I tried to search out any other evidence of internal corruption that would show the DNC was rigging the system to throw the primary to Hillary, but I could not find any in party affairs or amongst staff. I had gone department by department investigating individual conduct for evidence of skewed decisions, and I was happy to see that I had found none. I love that. Look, there was nobody else that was involved in this. It was just them. I went from person to person. I sniffed each one of them up and down. I sniffed the chair of Tom Perez. I went to each and every cubicle, and it was spick and span. I found no other corruption. It was just Debra Wasserman Schultz. It was just Obama. And it was just Hillary Clinton. It was those sniveling assholes. It was just them. Everybody else was clean. Everybody else was clean. I love this. I love this. This is awesome. This is awesome. The funding arrangement with Hillary for America and the Victory Fund agreement was not illegal. Fuck, it wasn't. Well, I'm not a lawyer, so fair enough. But it sure looked unethical. If the fight had been fair, one campaign would not have controlled the party before the voters had decided which one wanted to lead. This was not a criminal act, but as I saw it, it compromised the party's integrity. That is putting it goddamn mildly. It compromised the party's integrity. Integrity. Because the Democratic Party is so full of integrity. That's what they are known for. The Democratic Party is known for integrity, according to Donna Brazile. That's fucking amazing. Here's the part I want to get to. At the beginning of this, and I know this is long, I'm sorry. At the beginning of this, there's a conversation where she's talking about the fight between the Bernie Sanders campaign and Hillary Clinton campaign. And when Bernie Sanders is bringing this up, you guys are taking in more money than you're supposed to. Robert Mook said, you're accusing us of a crime. You're accusing us of a crime. You're accusing us of a crime. How dare you, sir? You're accusing us of a crime. This woman is goddamn full of integrity. I'm trying to impeach her integrity. How dare you? Dare you, dirty socialist. But the thing is, you've just stuck a shiv in Hillary Clinton saying that she was taking more than the $2,700. I understand there was this kind of legal fig leaf of sorts. But is that legal fig leaf enough? And are there prosecutors out there who look at the law and say, hey, that $2,700 was actually supposed to mean $2,700, not finding somewhere around it where you can use the party itself? And if you have full control of the party apparatus, somebody's giving money to the party is essentially giving money to Hillary Clinton. Who cares what you call it? Ultimately, what it boils down to Hillary Clinton getting more than $2,700 per person. If the party wasn't giving that money, if 98% of that money was going to Hillary Clinton, how on earth is that not exactly the same thing as Hillary Clinton taking more than $2,700 per person? It's fucking amazing. That's amazing. You can protest all you want that wasn't a crime, Donna. I understand you're trying to wax and wane in this. But the conversation that Mook made, or the point that Mook made, you're accusing us of a crime. If what you're saying in this article is true, meaning Bernie Sanders was right, what she was accusing them of was accurate, was correct. They were taking more money than they were supposed to take. And she had full control of the party apparatus. Long before it was chosen, the person was chosen. This is what you said in this article. How are you all of a sudden turn around saying, I know I said this was bad, and I know I said what she did, but it's not a crime. That's great. I discussed the fundraising agreement that each of the candidates had signed. Bernie was familiar with it, but he and his staff ignored it. They had their own way of raising money through small donations. I described how Hillary's campaign had taken it another step. I told Bernie I had found Hillary's joint fundraising agreement. I explained that the cancer was that she exerted this control of the party long before she became its nominee. Had I known this, I would have never accepted the interim chair. But here we were only weeks before the election. It's epically sad. Her torment is epic. Bernie took this stoically. He did not yell or express outrage. Instead, he asked me what I thought of Hillary's chances. Sanders, you were right. They cheated you. The cancer in the party. It's more than cancer. You're acting as if there's some kind of one blotch on the party's issue. Yeah, there are other blotches on the party. Let's be honest. But ultimately, Bernie, you're right. They cheated you. And Sanders just says, what do you think your chances are? He takes it stoically. How is he supposed to take it? I mean, it's not like he didn't know. It's not like the people on the left didn't know. And it's not like anybody who had the internet, who's anywhere near civilization, who had the capacity to go online and look at WikiLeaks, anybody who had eyes knew. Well, I should say in a brain, knew. That's amazing. He said, and I love this last part, because it's not just Donna Brazile is a goddamn saint. Donna Brazile is prescient. She's prescient. I love this. I love this. I need to write my own book. I need to write a book, man. I am going to write the most glamorous shit about myself in every situation. He was riding a bear, bare-chested, with a fedora. Whatever. I'm just saying, this is fucking amazing. I love this. People can write whatever they want. What happened? What happened? Everybody else's fault but my own. Donna Brazile comes behind her and says, it's Hillary Clinton's fault. That's what happened. It's Hillary Clinton's fault. She took control over the party apparatus, and because she exerted control over the party apparatus, she ran it into the ground and cheated Bernie Sanders. Here we are. He did not yell or express outrage. Instead, he asked me what I thought Hillary's chances were. The polls were unanimous in her winning. But what he wanted to know was my own assessment. I had to be frank with him. I did not trust the polls, I said. I told him I had visited states around the country, and I found a lack of enthusiasm for her everywhere. I was concerned about the Obama coalition and about millennials. Yeah, because you fucked over Sanders. That's why. You wrote this entire piece talking about they cheated Bernie Sanders. You think none of those millennials, you don't think any of them knew. You don't think any of them knew. They knew. I urged Bernie to work as hard as he could to bring his supporters into the fold with Hillary, and to campaign with all his heart and hope he could muster. Hey Sanders, they cheated you. You were right. They totally cheated you. They robbed you. They robbed you. But hey, you know that person who robbed you and cheated you, and all of the money that you got and everything else, and for the most part you wasted the money because they rigged the system? I need you to support that person with all your heart and all of your enthusiasm. You go out there and be a good soldier. He might find some of her positions too centrist and her coziness with the financial elites distasteful, but he knew and I knew that the alternative was a person who would put the very future of the country in peril. Hillary Clinton wanted to put a missile defense shield in Syria. If she would have shot down a Russian jet, there would have been a war. I don't think the question is that simple, for being honest. I've always said it wasn't that simple. I knew he heard me. I knew he agreed with me. But I never in my life had felt so tiny and powerless as I did making that call. When I hung up the call with Bernie, I started to cry. Not out of guilt. Not out of guilt. Because I'm fucking Donna Brazile. If you read all of this, I am blameless. I'm blameless. But out of anger, I was mad. We would go forward. We had to. We had to. That's fucking amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. I love this. I love this. I need to write a book. I need to write a book, man. I'm going to be epic and beautiful in my book. Just like Donna Brazile is epic and beautiful. She's a fucking saint. She's blameless. She's blameless. It's like she wrote a book and she penciled herself into all of the articles and everything that came out in WikiLeaks and weaved it in a way where I was just a snowflake. I just fell into this and I did the best that I could with a bad situation. That's what happened. That's what happened. I was sitting down eating some popcorn and I was licking my fingers, and they told me that I was going to be the head of the DNC. And I had just gotten fired from CNN for being corrupt myself, but I figured they had one disgraced person at the DNC. They can't necessarily discriminate against another disgraced person. So I got up from what I was doing. I washed my hands and I went into the job of the DNC. And what do I know? They actually did rig it. I did my best. I made Bernie Sanders a promise. I made him a promise. And out of my boundless integrity, I had to keep to that promise. And so that's what I did. I snooped and I looked and I searched. And my political acumen told me that something was amiss. I didn't know what it was. Something was amiss. And so I looked. And what I found hurt me to my heart. It hurt me to my heart. I was a good soldier and I went out and I lied like all the other Democrats. But it hurt me to my heart. And I called Bernie Sanders and I said, Bernie, I had to wipe my hands because I was eating chicken. I said, Bernie, they cheated you, baby. I'm sorry. And Bernie took it stoically. Do you think she could win? And I said, I don't think so, Bernie. Now, the beauty of this, I love the politics of this. This is a political document. That's the first point. You can't read this as if this is just some regular person sitting on a desert island writing their thoughts. This is a political document. That's the first part. The second part is, there's a comedy about some of this stuff. Like, and I don't know, it's one of those things where you never know if it's true or not. So he asked me if I thought she could win. Well, I don't want to say yes, because if I say yes, well, she lost, so I look bad. I don't want to say no, because I don't want to put a shiv in Hillary like I didn't think she was going to win. So, well, the polls said she was going to win, but people were doubtful. That's a non-answer. That's not a yes or no. That's a non-answer. The answer probably was, we don't know. Donna Brazile didn't want to answer that question. I don't want to give an answer because I fucked myself either way, so I don't want to answer that question. And there was another one where she's like, I'm shocked and a grin. They're gambling in this establishment. That guy's over there smoking a joint. I had no idea this was taking place, officers. I had no idea. They weren't doing this yesterday when I was here. This was only today. I love this, man. I love this. Cardinal, if it comes out of Donna's mouth, just assume it's bullshit. I think part of this is bullshit. I think the truth of it is they were cheating. I think that's the truth. I think the truth of it is the Democratic Party understands that they have an issue. Now, I go back and forth between this being purely from Donna Brazile's standpoint of Donna Brazile trying to cover her ass, or is there any potential that this is out in order to, like, we're not all bad or this type of thing? I got to be honest. I started this thinking she's only doing this to kind of hit it in the knees, this idea of flight from the party. But I'm thinking, no, that shouldn't have any effect on that. What it would have an effect on is Donna Brazile saying, I am blameless. I am blameless. This is what happened. This is what happened. Don't believe Hillary. This is what happened. That's what this is. That's what I think this is. Donna is going to be suicided. Donna is going to be suicided. Watch Clinton's death list. Darren Levy. Yeah, the body count list. You know, it's funny. I laughed slightly at that when I first saw the story, because I know people have this idea that Clinton's out there murdering people. Yeah. Moody Aries. I know he is very, very happy today. Who are you talking about? Sanders? Hashtag drain the swamp. Me dough. I don't... Look, unless you're talking about a cleansing on both parties, your government is fundamentally corrupt. Period. It's not like Hillary Clinton is like super corrupt more than anybody else. Your government is fundamentally corrupt. It allows people to be bribed. Hillary Clinton was just better at being bribed. And she turned around and bribed the DNC in order to take control of the DNC. In the same way that these wealthy... This is so odd to me. This is so odd. I'm a software engineer. In my head, I have this hierarchical thing that's taking place, where it's like the plutocrats, and then the politicians, and then the politicians parrot what they're saying. And then this Hillary Clinton added herself. She injected herself into this. So it's the plutocrats who are bribing Hillary to some degree. Hillary Clinton who's bribing the Democratic Party. Democratic Party who's then going from there. It's weird and strange, but she essentially had tentacles into the apparatus itself. That's amazing. If you're trying to tell me that having the ability to control finances and strategy and doesn't in any way give you pretty much absolute control of the party, you're insane. And if you're telling me that if your name is Hillary Clinton and you had absolute control over the party's apparatus, you're not going to do something to try to make your chances better to win. This story should be a bombshell. All of those Hillbots, all of those people out there who, you know, screamed that we were being sore losers, all of those people who wept on election day when their candidate failed and lost the reality shows, all of those people who didn't give a shit about the cheating during the primaries, you didn't care. You didn't care. Bernie Sanders was sitting up there crying, just weeping, and you guys laughed. You laughed. There's a video online with weeping Bernie Sanders progressives. Fair enough. But right now, your party is failing miserably. And not just failing miserably, one of your party, the woman who used to be head of your party at one point, comes out and says, you guys cheated magnificently. That's amazing. How is this not a bombshell? How is this not a bombshell? You cheated magnificently. Hillary Clinton had complete and absolute control over the party apparatus. I don't know what Hillary Clinton did, Donna Brazile, but come on, man. This is a knife. This is a knife. This is definitely a knife. Bob Ramirez says, there's black people and there's Donna Brazile. That's funny. That's funny. Terry J123. Yes, Pat. She was paying Obama's leftover debt for the DNC. Terry J123. Yes, she was. But explain something to me. And all those people who think these people are so full of integrity, that they're brimming with integrity, that they get out of bed in the morning and there's light coming out of their chest from the integrity that's exuding from them. All those people who think that these guys are running in a way that they're collecting millions of dollars. And they need this millions of dollars to get elected because the person with the most money typically wins. Not talking about presidential, just talking about congressional races. Now, Hillary Clinton was able to wield control over the Democratic, look, at least according to Donna Brazile, was able to wield almost absolute control over the DNC based on some contract that one of her friends signed. And as Donna Brazile put it, they needed the money to exist. It was an existential threat, the way Donna Brazile puts it. Now, if Hillary Clinton can wield that much power over the party apparatus by using cash, because the party is cash strapped and the party needs that money to get elected, are you telling me that the people who are giving Hillary Clinton the money doesn't necessarily wield the same power? Now mind you, take Hillary Clinton out of it for the moment. Hillary Clinton is just being bribed just like everybody else. Are you telling me that those people don't wield that same power over the Democratic Party apparatus? Is that what you're telling me? Hillary Clinton can do it because she held the purse strings, but when somebody else holds the purse strings, not so much. Our integrity comes back. If you're being bribed, you're being bribed, whether it's Hillary Clinton or whether that's somebody else who's paying Hillary Clinton. I don't understand his argument with the, and Terry, I don't think you made this argument. I called your name for something else. But these people who make this case that, no, they're not being bribed. I mean, yes, she can take $1 billion, but she's not being bribed by taking $1 billion. But the other people, down ticket, yeah, they could be bribed, not Hillary Clinton. Come on, man. These things are bribes. These things are bribes. When you get up in the morning, you go to that job that you absolutely hate. Are you going there because they're bribing you to go to the job? The answer is yes, you are. Otherwise, you wouldn't go. But by the same token, you know you wouldn't have a house. You know you wouldn't have a car. You probably wouldn't have a wife. You probably wouldn't have a spouse. You wouldn't have food to eat. You wouldn't be able to go to Whole Foods or take vacations or any of that other stuff. You wouldn't be able to live. You're compelled based upon your needs. In the same way that that party was compelled to bend or lean or essentially give Hillary Clinton controls based upon their own needs to exist. Come on. Saudi Arabia has money. Yes, Saudi Arabia does. Gardner, he does that with me too. Does it with who? Uh-oh, what happened? What happened? Jamal, why do you always think I'm arguing with you? I agree with you. No, I know, Terry. I'm sorry. I know, Terry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way. I called you for something else and then, oh, I know what I was going to say. I know sometimes you can be a little further to the, how can I say this? More forgiving of some of the stuff that the party does. I'll put it that way. It's not that I think you're arguing. Besides, I don't care if you are. It's perfectly fine. It's a political show. 70s Dave 34. There are cults, and then there's Hillary supporters. Those people are nuts. A friend of mine told me one day, I said, you understand she's under an FBI investigation. And he says, everybody's under an FBI investigation. Why do you think everybody is under an FBI investigation? There was somebody else who I was like, she can shoot down a Russian jet. You understand that that's a big fucking deal. And agreeing with me, saying, yeah, but Russia's not going to do anything about that. And then showed a link to sometime in the past where the United States shot down a Russian jet. My completely different political scenario. Didn't even take the political context into consideration. They say amazing things. They say mentally amazing things. Their religious beliefs. The Clintons made the Democrats and Dixiecrats. The Clintons made the Democrats irrelevant. That's what it boils down to. Yes, Gardner, I do the same with you sometimes. I don't mind it. Believe it or not, I don't mind it. I like it for the show. Chenzo Greenidge. The rescue narrative from Hillary supporters is truly amazing. They see this as a distraction from fighting Trump. Yes, they do. Yeah, they do. They do. I've noticed that. Like, if you bring in one, it's, oh, that's a distraction. That's a distraction. That stuff that he's throwing out to prevent us from talking about Donald Trump. The issue is Trump. Resist. And I always ask, what are you resisting and when did you start? What are you resisting? Like, this resist Trump, I don't know what that means. I have no clue what that means. Does that mean be against each and everything that Donald Trump does? What if it's something I like? If he kills the TPP, I actually like that. I like that. I agree with that. I agree with that. Like if I'm trying to think of something else Trump may do that I like, and I don't know what that would be. Yeah, I don't know what that would be. But I'm saying if something comes up and I like it, I say I like it. I don't know what this resist thing means. I have no clue what that means. Jamal, Donna Knife Hill, is Hillary called Donna a dumb vet buffalo? Yeah, you stuck a knife in her. She stuck a knife in her. Because even though Donna Brazile was like, this isn't against the law, if I am a prosecutor and I dislike Hillary Clinton and I'm looking at that and I have any power whatsoever, I'm going to make the argument. Law is arguments. I will make the argument that she's taking more than $2,700. She's breaking the law in this case. That would be the argument I would make. Donna Brazile makes this case, bringing up the fact that Mook said, you're saying that we're doing something against the law, with Donna Brazile saying, yes, they were taking the money in this way. Just because you come back in the end and says, but it wasn't illegal. Whatever. Pat Hacker, Democratic Party is dead like the Whigs. Not yet. We're trying to get it there. Resist these nuts. Edge of deception. Yeah, resist them. Bernie should write a book on his true thoughts of Hillary. It will be a #1 seller. I don't want Bernie to do that. I don't want to get into that mess. That's garbage. Hillary Clinton ran. The priorities of the individuals involved and their behavior tells you everything. That's all I'm saying. Hillary Clinton lost the election and stuck her head in a hole. Bernie Sanders ended the primary and came out swinging. If you remember when, right after Trump got elected, Bernie Sanders came out with all the things that what Donald Trump pledged to get elected. And essentially was holding those things up. This is what he said. This is what he said. Never forget what he said. That type of thing. Yeah, man. It's a big difference. It's a difference. The behaviors of the people involved tell you everything. That's all I'm saying. Bernie Sanders going to a union rally, well, that tells you what his intentions are. Bernie Sanders bringing up the fact that the Standing Rock thing on No Apple, that tells you what his intentions are. Nobody pushed him to go to those things. He did it because it was in him. It's a massive difference in those things. These parties and state apparatuses work on this idea of cash. Somebody is paying it in order to stay afloat, and they're leaning towards the people who are paying it to stay afloat. They have a budget of what, $3-4 million a month that they need to cover. What are you going to do to cover the $3 or $4 million that you get? Who's giving you that cash, and what do they expect for that particular cash that they're giving you? And certainly as a human being, you understand that you need to lean a particular way in order to continue to get the cash that these people are giving you. This is not just giving you it out the kindness of the heart. They're giving you because they want something in return. And oftentimes, you give them the things in return that they want, which is the problem. This is why your party fails and continues to fail in the way that it fails. And it's failed so much. And there's one point I want to make on this. If Hillary Clinton won the election, do you honestly believe this would have came out? Do you think Donna Brazile would have wrote this if Hillary Clinton won the election? They're failing in the open. And when people are pointing fingers, trying to make this case of who did it, these guys are pointing at each other saying, it wasn't me, don't blame me, I'm blameless. I'm blameless. I am stellar. They're being attacked. They understand they're being attacked. And to some degree, I would imagine from their standpoint, they look at this as, oh my God, people are leaving, we're imploding. That's what I would imagine is coming out. I imagine these books are coming out for those reasons. I think I was wrong before. Initially, my thought was, they're doing this because they want to stem the tide of people leaving the party. But the more I think of it, I don't know how this would actually accomplish that task. This sounds more like, I'm a goddamn saint, blame them. That's what this sounds like to me. This totally sounds like that to me. I was blameless. I was a good person. I did everything that I could. This looks extraordinarily corrupt. I'm not saying it was illegal, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. They're cannibalizing each other. It's hilarious. Agreed. That's what I thought too, Guard. When I saw that, I was like, okay, yeah, they're eating each other alive. Tom Perez kicking those people out of the party, I think, is a sign of weakness. I don't think that's a sign of strength. Like, I understand, like, the Sanders supporters and everything else, they didn't necessarily have the strength to keep themselves in the party. Look, I am a broken record on this point. Any change that you want to make needs to start with the term no. It needs to start with no. We're not budging. And you have no power, man. A friend of mine, a guy who used to be one of my team lead at Theater York, he was like, if you're attacking the Justice Democrats, or if you think the Justice Democrats believe it was going to be easy, then you're misleading your audience. And Cal was whining on camera about the Democrats not giving him access to some kind of voter records. It was like misleading my audience. That's a flat fact of what took place. Even put a link to the video, if I'm not mistaken. I don't like the whining thing. Of course they're not going to give you the records. They cheated your guy outright, completely outright, in public view. They cheated him. And so it's like, does Cal know that they weren't going to give him the records? I don't know. Cal acted like he didn't know when he was on his video. So I joked him for sounding like he was crying about it. But just to make a fine point here, these things respond to issues of strength, not issues of weakness. You're trying to shame somebody who doesn't necessarily have shame. You're trying to wag your finger at somebody who doesn't really give a shit about wagging your finger at them. That's not going to do squat. Whining on your show about them not allowing you access to some kind of voter files, I ain't going to do it. Until they are terrified of you. Like, understand what I mean. The pitchforks thing is not just applied purely to politicians. Well, I guess it does. But I'm saying, until they're terrified, like until they're in a situation of, oh my God, we can lose this. Even if it's not to another Democrat, that's the key point. Justice Democrats, I have no issue with. Let me be clear about this part. I'm just a slight detour. But all of this is based on this idea of what you're going to get out of the party politics. That's why I'm talking about this. You have a Democratic Party where the person who was head of the DNC has just wrote a piece in Politico saying, yes, we cheated the other candidate and we lied about it profusely for the past year. That's what just took place. So understand the gravity of what we're talking about. You've also had Tom Perez to purge members of the party who supported Bernie Sanders and supported Keith Ellison. This after they cheated Bernie Sanders, owned up to it right here. They lied about it for months on end. Even though WikiLeaks came out saying you guys cheated Bernie Sanders, they consistently lied about it continuously. Donna Brazile got fired from CNN because she was passing information to the Clinton campaign, cheating herself. The person brimming with integrity in this particular piece was besmirched in that particular capacity at CNN. She was passing information to the Hillary Clinton campaign. I don't remember her passing that to Bernie Sanders. Now, to be fair, I don't know if it was in the primaries. I'm just making a point that it's not like she's spotless. She's not this angel that she portrays in it. This shrinking violet or this dandelion that just so happened to fall into this world of corruption. She was already part of it. So I'm making this point that all of these things, when Clinton took control of that particular party, and all of those guys, for the most part, slowly over time, but culminated with Bill Clinton taking office, it was a fundamentally different party. It changed the party. He fundamentally changed the party. He fundamentally shifted that party to the right. The presidents, after Bill Clinton, for the most part, fell in the same line. And what you found was politics shifted in a certain way, too. Meaning Democrats, who were just Democrats by birth because it was some kind of cultural choice, stayed with that party, even though that party shifted to the right. Now, you had a lot of independents who were to the left. The problem that these guys are having, and the problem I think, they're trying to change the party. And they're trying to do something that the other guys did. I mean, and they're trying to do something that the DLC, the third way Democrats did. I don't remember third way Democrats being very loud about it. I would imagine if Uyghur and Cal did this in secret, but see, I guess you can't do it in secret. You have to do it. I don't know, man. I guess I look at this from the standpoint, are they going to be able to change the party? I think that's what fundamentally boils down to. If you think Justice Democrats can change the party, then you're probably going to support them profusely. If you think it's a waste of time, then you're probably not. I am agnostic, I think. I don't like the setup. But by the same token, if it's a person who I believe, if it's a person who I believe is earnest, for instance, Paula Swearengin is the issue. So if it's somebody like Swearengin, yeah, I would support Swearengin. I like Swearengin. So it's one of those things where you can support individual candidates themselves. I don't give a shit whether they're Justice Democrats or anything else. But your strength in this is not. And let me say it this way. I'm saying this poorly. I guess what I'm thinking is this. I see no issue with supporting any individual particular candidate if it's somebody who you believe is going to represent your interests. Don't care who it is. That's the first point. The second point, however, is if that candidate loses, if he loses, you're in the primaries, he gets the stuffing or she gets the stuffing beat out of him by a centrist. Do you turn around and vote for the centrist that beat your candidate? Is Paula Spurgeon going to vote for Joe Manchin? That's the question. That's the question. And if that answer is, if we lose, then yes, we'll continuously vote for the same person, then no, I don't support you. Then no, I don't support you. Because you got to get to the point of saying no. And until you get to the point of saying no, you're going to be complicit in whatever the party does and whatever shifts to the right that the party does. The soul searching is purely a result of them failing. Never forget that. Donna Brazile doesn't write this unless Donna Brazile fails miserably and the Democratic Party fails miserably and Hillary Clinton loses to reality shows. So, if Democratic primary had been honest, Bernie had won, 50% of Hillary supporters would have voted for Trump over Bernie in general election. I don't believe that at all. No. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. They couldn't stand her. They could not stand her ass. The Robert. How many Democrats are cocksure that Hillary's hands are and always clean? 60% probably wouldn't give up that shit. Well, those 60% has to deal with this particular article where Donna Brazile said they cheated. That's what those 6% has to deal with. I gotta be honest. You guys have seen me when I do videos on Democrats and Hillary. I enjoy those videos. And I don't know why I enjoy those videos. Like, I realized somebody said one day, you're having way too much fun. And I looked, as I'm watching the video, I'm like, she's right. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. There needs to be a no. There needs to be a no. There needs to be the bravery of no. It needs to be loud. If Justice Democrats, all of them, each and every last one of them, if TYT itself came out and says, if our candidates don't win, you're not getting our support. Now, they're already being excluded from the Democratic parties in the way that they're functioning. So, right off the bat. And this kind of problem with having a media network hooked to your political organization. If TYT came out and said it, I don't know, man. It's just weird. It has to start with no. If you're always complicit, if it's, we're going to run our candidates, and after we lose, you're going to get our support after we lose, after our candidate loses. That's not a change. That's same old. At best, that's same old. And at worst, you're being complicit to whatever that particular Democrat does and the way the system currently is. The answer is at the very least, stop. Say no. The answer is to say no. At least in the beginning. Figure something out. But at the very least, no. Until they full well believe that they can lose, it doesn't matter. I voted for Bernie in the 12 states that allow it. He received almost 800,000 votes. Just as Democrats and TYT would support anyone who opposes Trump. That's the sole criteria, which is why I don't support Justice Democrats anyway. Like, until your organization can just say no. Until you can say no. I understand that you need the party apparatus in order to get in. That's something that they did. They cheated in that way in order to change the system, to make it difficult for third parties. Fair enough. I even understand this argument of I'm taking back the Democratic Party. I even get the argument. It's like, that wasn't the corporatist party. That is not supposed to who run that party. The same way that Jeremy Corbyn in London, in Britain, is taking back labor and beating the hell out the Blairites. Fair enough. I get it. We're not a parliament. We're arranged in a slightly different way than a parliament. Like I said, man, support individual candidates. I would prefer if they came out and say, yeah, the answer to this is to say no. We're no longer going this route. If Nina Turner has gotten to the point, if she's like, maybe it's time for a third party. Things are bad. Peter Hacker, the new party won't be part of the DNC. No, it wouldn't. Garnome, that is why it's pointless. They are just playing pretend opposition. Forma 2. That's my issue, I think. Ultimately, at the bottom line, I think that's my issue. It's like, I don't think it'll work. At least not the way they're doing it. I think you need a groundswell. And I don't know if you get that groundswell just by running politicians. It's like you have all these people, you want to run these candidates, and I understand running the candidates feel good and everything else, but it looks like you get more bang for your buck by using those millions of dollars that people are giving to organize the public. That's all. Yes, you can run candidates, but would the investment and getting people involved in the process pull more money in than just using that money for candidates themselves? I guess that's the question I would have. Kathy Lloyd, oh my God, am I shocked? Donna wants money for a book. Don't buy it. Corrupt is all. Hashtag dead DNC. Yeah. Darren Levy, our revolution endorsed Greens and Libertarians and Indies and Independents and Democrats. Yeah, good. I think Democrats realized that they were going down. Notice how they have been more and more open about corruption lately, trying to get one last big payday. That's why my first impression was these guys they understand that the jig is up, that type of thing. It's like, and I guess I was looking at it in a weird way, but not necessarily, not wholly wrong. I was looking at it more from the standpoint of, oh man, these guys know they're going down and they're trying to find ways to stem the tide. For me, too, is looking at it as they're going down. They're not trying to stem the tide. They're trying to milk it for everything they can get before it goes down. Fair enough. The RNC went through the same thing in 2008, but not as spectacularly. The Democratic Party, the DNC, is crooked as a brand. Who will buy a car with a representative as a lemon? Terry Robinson, I like the brutality of that statement. Darren Aleve, the DNC have been told to keep the gravy train going. Jude 1 big rat abandoning ship. She is swimming away, ain't she? She's just swimming away, leaving a bomb behind her. Darren Aleve, Jeremy and Bernie have been working together. Oh, Jeremy Sanders, yeah. Zox Abox. I missed one of these. Welcome back, Zox. One of the best savior-ass moments in history, Donna Brazile. Hashtag Donna Brazile. Stacey O'Neill. I don't know, man. What happened? I think what happened is pretty, fucking spectacular and terrible. If you're going on a tour to explain to people who have eyes and ears and who was right there with you in the time frame with you, what happened? If you have to do that, maybe something's wrong. You have a spectacular failure. Like, what do you mean by spectacular failure? They gave that woman $1 billion. They didn't give her $1 billion to lose. They gave her $1 billion because they assumed she was going to win. And she lost. Think of all the money that was going to the DNC. They were already broke and cash strapped. She lost. That was supposed to be their gravy train. Donna Brazile is like, I had nothing to do with this. Blame them, all of them. Obama ran into the ground. Hillary Clinton had full control. Debra Wasserman Schultz is a horrible, horrible manager. I had nothing to do with this. I did the best I could. I'm Donna Brazile. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. I love it. You have to be willing to be an unenviable new party. An unviable new party. Be unviable for at least 10 years and refuse being compliant for the Democrats. You can create a new viable political party from that. They have done bad things in regards to how they construct the elections. It becomes a difficult way, but it's possible, I guess. God known. But they said they don't take big donor money. That's funny. They leave the DNC with the ability to claim, hey, mistakes were made, but all those people are gone now. Addison Clare. Oh, Debra Wasserman Schultz. Well, it's funny. There's a piece where she's like, I went through every place. I inspect everybody. I smelled chair after chair. And it all came back clean. I love that. That's awesome. Where did all that money go? That's the question, right? California's DNC leadership race should have told everybody the DNC doesn't want progressives or workers in leadership roles. They have told you that, Pat. They have. I would say their behavior. If you went home and somebody slapped the shit out of you every day, they may not like you. They just might not be into you. Now the question becomes to the person who's getting slapped in that way. Do you grow a spine and do you walk away? or do you keep getting slapped in the face? I'm saying grow a spine and walk away. I'm saying walk away. I'm saying walk away. Trying to imagine the bullshit that's going to come from Tom Perez on this. Oh, that's going to be breathtaking. Oh, that's going to be breathtaking. That's going to be awesome. Bernie is not complicit. Darren Levy. I mean, he is trying to sheep herd people into the party. Let's be honest. And Moody errs on her soapbox. I'm not saying he's not doing it for reasons, but come on, that is what he's trying to do. And Moody errs on her soapbox. I'm just sick of Justice Democrats being brought up constantly like, oh my God, shut the fuck up about it for 5 minutes. Oh, okay, all right. I feel you. Fair enough. Pat Hacker. All that money went to cancel out Obama's debts. Well, not all of it, but a lot of it did. She was able to put him on a, what did she say? They put us on an allowance. I love the wording. Like a child. They put us on an allowance. We're adults. We're grown human beings. And Hillary Clinton had us on an allowance. I love that. That's an awesome description. Donna is fighting Hillary for best book sales. That's going to be awesome. It's like they have dueling books. One trying to stick a shiv in the other. What's more crooked? Justice Democrats or a dog's hind leg? Oh, wow. Bomber Marissa. Bernie is complicit. He went along with the charade. Yeah, kind of. Well, ish. That's a ish. Dave McCall is going to say I'm being weak on this. That's an ish. I'm going with an ish. So Bernie Sanders did scream like, holy shit, they're cheating us. He did. Even in the piece, she mentioned Bernie Sanders was screaming that he was being cheated, and everybody else was saying, shut up, you're accusing us of crime, you're being complicit, etc., etc., etc. I mean, I'm sorry, you're accusing us of crime, shut up, it's not true, you're just a sore loser, all this stuff. He did bitch about it, but he did ultimately go along with it and supported the person who he knew cheated him. So, yeah, ish. The Russians did it. Hillary Clinton, Brian Falk. Bernie admitted he knew Hillary was cheating. Well, he said it before, yeah. The Robert. After meeting with Obama, it was clear Bernie was told what the deal is. I'm sure Obama said, not this time, man, but if Hillary's out in 4 years, you can do it. I would not. Oh, maybe. If Hillary was out in 4 years, no. Because there's no way that Hillary Clinton was going to be primaried by a Democrat. There was no way. It's one thing if you beat her outright. It's another thing if she loses outright. In which case you have a Democrat versus a Republican. There is no way they're going to primary Hillary Clinton. This is why I was kind of adamant about walking through a little bit of pain, and hopefully not a lot of pain, for payoff. And by the payoff, I mean your best chance of reorganizing that Democratic Party is to break that party through losing, or at the very least the threat of losing. The party went down in ashes. And all of the stuff is coming out of the fire. One of those, rats on fire running away is Donna Brazile. And as she runs away, she's pointing and screaming at the top of her lungs at Hillary Clinton, Debra Wasserman Schultz, and Barack Obama, while at the same time trying to save her own ass and essentially trying to save everybody else that had anything to do with the party. It's an awesome piece. It's an awesome piece. I want to be able to write like that. I want to be able to write like where I would be like, I am fucking amazing. I'm brilliant. I had on a cape. I wore a cape. That's how I was. My skin was spotless. I walked on a pillar of air as I went about my days. I'm Donna Brazile. I'm awesome. I am absolutely awesome. All this Russia stuff, the Democratic Party establishment should get out of politics and get into travel industry. Where should I visit in Russia? And Democratic Party hacks. Cool. 71. Gardner Moody. That is Cal's job within the very organization he created. Powerless mouthpiece. Bigger fish have moved into his pond. We have a fight about Justice Democrats. Mark P. Depends on if they paid to lose. I don't think anybody would pay to lose. Well, they put Hillary Clinton up. She lost to Trump. Bernie was threatened. I have no doubts about that at the White House meeting. Whatever happened, it was enough to make him comply. Zox Avux. I don't think Bernie Sanders was threatened. I don't think you need to threaten people in this way. I think political pressure is enough to work on a person. I honestly do. You have the President of the United States. You have a former Secretary of State. And they're trying to say, look, this is what's going to take place. We need your help and we need your support. It's just pressure. They don't have to threaten. It's just pressure. It's going down. Both parties are crap. Barrels of crisp. Yes, that's true. Pet hacker. The Robert got that right. Yes, the Robert did get that right. Never go to a meeting with someone more powerful than you alone. Bring friends. Zox Avox. Agreed, I think. Yes. I'm going with Ish as well. Darren Levy. Yeah, I think that's the Ish. Dimeback TV. I've been saying that the Democratic Party is playing in a pool of feces, so I guess Donna Brazile's decided she wants out. Stacey O'Neill. Ask Jared Beck. Gardno. But Zox, he went with Jenk. Oh, man, they're going after Justice Democrats. I don't have an issue with Justice Democrats. That's the funny part. Here's the thing, man. You have a media organization that you fuse to a political organization. That's a little weird. People always argue and bitch at MSNBC and Fox News for being affiliated with the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Why is it okay for TYT? Now, if they're going to go with this route and say, okay, there's a Fox News, there's an MSNBC. This is us. We're a political organization and we're a party and this is our mouthpiece. Fair enough. But don't tell me you're impartial. Don't pretend to be impartial because you're not at that point. You have a dog in the hunt. And having the dog in the hunt, we can expect certain things in the same way that other people act when they have a dog in the hunt. I just went through the story showing Hillary Clinton had these guys by the short curlies because they needed money in order to get in and to do anything. You have a media organization that's being fused with your political organization. Now, do you have a vested interest in protecting the candidates who you are putting up? And the answer, of course, is yes. We have a vested interest. We want this guy to do well. We want this guy to do good. So, yes. Now, I understand that you can say, well, we're not necessarily going to tolerate anybody being a particular way. And fair enough. I would imagine that the Democratic Party started off a similar way. I would imagine the Republican Party started off with the best intentions. But certainly you understand that that tether is there. That thing is there that creates this kind of incentive structure of dishonesty. That's been my only argument in regards to the Justice Democrats. Initially when they launched, I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. And then more I thought, I was like, oh man, this is kind of gross. Why is this okay for them? I mean, we absolutely hated it when Hillary Clinton was essentially, chumming it up with Rachel Maddow. Why is it okay for these guys to do the same thing? So, it's what it is. But their intentions are different. So, ultimately, I don't necessarily begrudge a person for saying things need to change. I want to put somebody up to make things change. And like I said, if a candidate was up that represented my interest, they would get my vote. I don't care what label they have associated with them. So, I know people have feelings about it because it's TYT, but if they would put it this way, if Paula Swearengin had any chance of taking out Joe Manchin, I'm voting for Paula Swearengin. I don't give a shit what she has by her name. I want Joe Manchin out that seat. Sure hope Bernie will be able to dodge and weave and avoid having to commit to telling about Hillary and the DNC. I hope also too. I don't want him to release a book. I don't want him to talk about this at all. Leave this in a gutter. Be above it. Just be above it. Because this has looked immensely bad for both. Like, for Hillary Clinton, this looks immensely bad. For Donna Brazile, it's too clean, man. Like, it's one of those things. It's like it's as if she weaved her testimony based upon the news articles and the WikiLeaks articles that have been out to try to craft a story that looks bad, but probably was worse. It was that type of thing. Like, look, I don't want to implicate each and every person, so I'm going to try to clear as many people as I can possibly clear. Everybody was blameless. It was just Clinton, Obama, and the rest of the Democratic Party, the DNC. It's like, all right, man, I get it. You're trying to clear your team and everything else, and you're trying to quote unquote move on. And that's great. That's great. My answer doesn't change. The answer is no. Meaning this fig leaf stuff and all this other stuff. The answer is no. If you really want things to change, start at a fundamental basis of no. I'm not budging. You're not getting my vote. They're batshit crazy. Nothing to do with you. You are separate and distinct. Meaning you get my vote when you represent my interests. It has nothing to do with having the choice of one over the other. Neither is also a choice that's on the ballot. Neither is on the ballot. In fact, I wish they put a box on the ballot called neither. I would love for that box to be there. I guess you can always write it in. I hope Bernie tells the truth. He owes the American people. No, Bernie ain't going to do that. He's too much of a politician. Pat Hacker, yeah. Connie Zerger. Good one, Pat Hacker. D. Martin. I was being sarcastic. Sarcastic about what? Schumer and Harry Reid threatened Sanders he would lose the Senate leadership. That I believe. That I believe. Yes, that I will believe. I do believe they will will political force on that. Yeah, I do believe it. You know, there's another part to this, and I'll leave it at this because I'm slightly getting hungry. You know, they super delegates. They have super delegates. Why are you participating in a process where a third of the vote is held by just a very few people who are party functionaries? Why are you in that process? Like, this is kind of what I'm missing. It seems like the only answer is no. I'm not participating. I'm not playing in a rigged game. I'm not playing in a game where you are rigging the results of the game. You rigged it in the open. I'm not playing. I'm not playing. I don't know what else I'm gonna play. I will find something, but it won't be with you. That just seems to be the most natural and basic step that needs to be taken in unison. In unison. They're cheating you in the open. And because they tell you that this is just the way the process is, you accept that this is just the way the process is. A maxim is that the way the process should be. Is that the way the process should be? And if you believe that they've rigged the process against you, why are you playing in a rigged process? This is anybody. Justice Democrats, brand new Congress, whatever. Who's ever running for Democrats? If you feel yourself or you find yourself on the left or you define yourself as being a leftist, why are you running in a rigged process? Why? Either find something different, use that rigged process for your ends, but refuse to participate any other way, or be complicit. Be complicit. And yeah, I use the word complicit because that's exactly what it is. If at the end of the day, you understand that these guys are not in my best interest, you understand these people are fucking me over, you understand that the process is rigged, and you say, okay, all that's true, and you cheated my guy, and here's my vote, then yes, I'm calling you complicit. I'm calling you complicit. They talk about human rights. Barely. TYT is part of the media, so they have different pressures on them. That's true. They can't go around saying the Democrats win would be considered irresponsible of them. Terry J123. Yes, I'm complaining about this one. I disagree with this one. Is it unclear to anyone? Is it completely unclear to anyone that TYT is quote-unquote progressive network? And is it unclear to anyone that the TYT, that same progressive network that calls himself a progressive network, put up candidates who are going to actually run in elections? Now, this idea that they're somehow separate and distinct is not there, man. Like, how do you make that case? They're literally running candidates to be in office. Are those candidates just, those candidates are supposed to be progressive candidates. That's their moniker. We're progressive candidates. We're going to take back Washington. We're going to have all of the stuff in our platform. Nobody's unclear on what they represent or what they say they represent. So yeah, they can take that position of, if we lose, if this particular candidate doesn't win, we're not voting for anybody else. They can do that. They can do that. It's their network. They can do whatever they want. Who holds the purse strings? Or who holds the strings to TYT's network? And are you telling me that the people who are on TYT network don't control the things that they say out of their mouths and the things that they themselves believe? Are you going to consistently vote for somebody who's not in your best interest? And what I mean by that is, I understand that the Republican Party is crazy. Fair enough. They have no responsibilities to you. At least nothing real. Nothing that you're going to get out of them. But your vehicle is supposed to be the left. Meaning you have two options. Either you bring that vehicle to a halt and break that vehicle and redo it, rebuild it. You get that vehicle to bend to your will, meaning that vehicle changes. Or you create something else. Those are your only three options. There are no three other options. If TYT wants to be a part of the process, what is TYT's suggestion? I understand they're trying to do this constitutional convention thing. You're more likely to get a right wing opening the Constitution up in the way that they're going. But in this case, the Justice Democrats were up. If they lose, I love Paula Swearengin to death, But the polls are not on their side. Chances are not on their side. They will get some. They may get some in, percentage-wise. They may get some in. And I hope they do, believe it or not. But come on. They're not impartial. There's no way anybody can look at that show and find them to be impartial. There's no way. Nobody's unclear about what they are. That's all I'm saying. And if nobody's clear about what they are, and if it's for the most part an opinion show that also gives news and everything else, then they can give their opinions. They give it all the time. I would imagine it is a pretty strong opinion coming from what's supposed to be the online progressive network that we need something different. These people are not representing our interests. And if this particular candidate who we ourselves are supporting, who even though we put the guy up, we're not necessarily connected to, that guy, if that guy loses, then you abstain, or you vote for the Green Party candidate, or somebody else. But you don't vote for the Democrat and Republican until they bend your way. I think that is sensible as sensible can be, and they have it well within their power to do so. Will they do it or not is a second question. That is your only path. That is your only path. I mean, the 2016, yes, they could have. Yes, man, we greatly disagree on this. Terry J123, yes, we greatly disagree on this. Are you telling me, and I'm looking at the comment, are you telling me that it was impossible for TYT to come out and say, we're not going to support Hillary Clinton for the election? Are you telling me that's, Jimmy Dore did it? Are you telling me that it's completely impossible for TYT to come out and says, look, unless they bend our way, we're not going to vote for them. They cheated our guy. We're not voting for the people who cheated our guy. They could have said it. There was nothing in the world. You may say there was pressure on Jink in some way, but if there was, why was there pressure on Jink to toe that line? Why? He's supposed to be giving his opinions. All of them were supposed to be giving their opinions. I'm assuming they voted for Hillary Clinton because they were terrified of Donald Trump. Fair enough. I don't think anything was on them in that case. But if you're representing this level of progressivism, and everybody else is kind of, well, I can't say everybody else, but you had a large segment of the population split on this thing of Clinton and Trump. And you had a large active faction of that particular group that said, oh my God, they cheated my guy. She's not getting my vote because they cheated my guy. You chose to go with Clinton. You can understand how bad that looks when you yourself, meaning Cenk Uygur, was out there bitching and moaning and complaining about the cheating that was taking place, how it looked like he was shafting Sanders. And I agreed with him. Yes, they did. Are you telling me that it's okay to cheat one of the candidates and then to turn around and give the vote to the person that cheated that exact same candidate? Yeah, man, we disagree on this one. Cenk and Bill Maher telling everybody to vote for Hillary. Yeah, no, that's my point. Bob Ramirez, we need 24-hour TYT. I don't know what that means. Moody, Arizona Soapbox. I was reading so many tweets earlier that ragged on Donald for creating division and blah, blah, blah because they were so unified. Eyes roll. Wow, that's amazing. Are you serious? That's insane. Pet Hacker. It was Clinton's more than anyone that wanted Trump because they thought there was the only one he could win. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. In Shattered, they mentioned how it was like, is it just you or me that is it strange to anyone else that it seems like Trump's the only person we could beat? That's amazing. TYT took $20 million. Donna Brazile is acting like she found out they cheated Bernie to absolve herself of responsibility. Third party, Labor Party. That would be nice. Labor should have started its own party at this point. They should have stopped supporting Democrats a long time ago. Honestly, they really should have. Well, I mean, we've progressed to this point. They've allowed themselves to get so weak and beat up. And the place and the thing that was supposed to be supporting them, the edifice of that particular country, turned their back on them. They assumed that Labor was going to vote for them anyway because the Republicans were batshit crazy and rabid. They assumed right. And Labor got busted because of it. Labor did not have a friend in the Democratic Party. Not at all. Got that right. Time for a Labor Party. That would be nice. Bob Ramirez, imagine what an honest SNL could do with Hillary and Donald book tours. Oh, man. That would be a thing to behold. Zox Alex. TYT is an easy time fooling the youth. Cool Blue 71, Democratic Party. I mean, look, I think the division for TYT thing has to do with them choosing to vote for Clinton. I honestly do. I think that's much of the angst and anger. I know for the left has this thing of this distrust of authority. And what I mean by authority, I don't mean this person being in charge of you, but edifices in general, we tend to be somewhat distrustful. So fair enough. Teach his own. Not everybody at TYT voted for Clinton. We should respect people's opinion. Chink voted for Hillary, but I've never heard him blame anyone else for not voting for Hillary. That's what Bill Maher does. At Slim J, I gotta be honest, I only watch, there's certain segments I will watch, like if something comes up and it's like XYZ, like I gave, like one popped up about, I can't think what it was, but it's, I don't watch them to know, but whatever, I don't like or dislike Chink. I don't like when he browbeats people in interviews, but otherwise, I don't like or dislike him. I hate the fact that he decided to turn his network over Hillary. I hate that. You have no idea. You have no idea. I just feel like stand up. Just stand up. And I understand going to the I know Justice Democrats is their way of standing up. I get that. So don't get me wrong. It's the cheating, man. I have a hard time getting past the cheating. That's all. It's we're cheating you. And so I bristle at this thing of letting that pass. Regardless of the consequence, I bristle at letting it pass. I feel more along the lines of I am willing to go down with this ship rather than let you get off and live. And I know that sounds brutally dark, but I feel like from a democratic standpoint, if you're going to have a representative government and you have one of the parties that has made the choice, unilaterally made the choice, that we are going to select a successor, not because people wanted her, but because the party itself made the decisions, corporation itself made the decision that they wanted to put that person in office. Fuck that. Fuck that. Yeah, fuck that. That's a no. That's a fail. That's a fail. Satan himself can be on the other side of that. Satan himself is going to win. That is a fail. You're not getting my vote. I'm not going to be complicit in that at all. Not at all. In fact, I want to think that your party needs to be dismantled. And that's what I do think. That's what I do think. Jim Dore, rewarding Hillary for cheating just encourages more cheating. Sanders should recognize this publicly. Yes, 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 yes. Jim Dore, yes. Agreed. Absolutely. Chanzo Greenwich, Labor is talking about a new party right now. Dore just reported it. I will check that out, and I hope that is true. Yes. Catherine 12371, fuck, that is right. Thank you. Game theory, tit for tat strategy is not optimal to give them a pass. No, it's not. Jimmy called Chink a cuck to his face, and Cenk laughed it off like it was a joke. Probably was a joke. Friends. I met Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore would throw himself under a car for TYT. Like he got his start from TYT. I don't think it's he probably was joking. He probably was joking. I suspect he was joking. Jamal, it seems you have a higher standard for yourself than Bernie's ish. That's the answer. It's an ish. It's not a flat out yes. It's a ish. It's an ish. DNC would never allow the Justice Democrats to take control of the Republic, like the Republican Party allowed the Tea Party to do. They have totally different constitutionality. Yes, I think so too. That's my feeling. Until you get rid of superdelegates, you're yeah, man. Byrne lets the facts speak for themselves. Terry J123, and I hope part of me hopes he continues that. Yes, I don't want him to get into this muck. I don't want to get into the muck. Part of look, cathartically, emotionally, yes, it would be nice for them to embrace it. But Terry, I agree with you. I don't want him in the muck, man. I don't want him in the muck. Labor unions are comprised and need to reform themselves first. They are just recently signed up suspiciously early, and swooned over Hillary is no recommendation. You know, a lot of people in labor voted for Trump. A lot of people in labor voted for Trump. Any new party will have every ex-Democrat piling into like a clown car. It depends. If it's on the left, yes, because the left is looking for a vehicle like nobody's else, like nobody's business. And if it was this kind of high-profile party thing where you had all these labor unions coming together saying we're starting a party, you might get it. You might get it. They may have the cash and everything else to get it going. Keep in mind, the biggest thing with the party was always how much it's going to cost to start one. And everyone says, oh, there are hurdles because of the cost. Well, if you're labor unions, And you get to the point of saying, okay, DNC is not a viable option. They're losing profusely, and they don't do anything for us anyway. We need something else. Yeah, I can see that. They might have the cash for it. They may not necessarily have the cash for these big political campaigns, seeing as the labor unions have been hit in the guts by the Republicans and Democrats. But they may have enough to start a party. And I would imagine that if your labor union had a party, and labor unions before, the strength of the Democratic Party used to be groundwork, not necessarily the cash. Democrats used to be outspent. If that's the model that they're building, maybe that would be awesome. I'm gonna look the story up after this. That's gonna be awesome. Calls more not to start one. At this point, James Wilkinson calls more not to start one. Pat Hacker, Jimmy Dore is who he is, not part of TYT first. I would argue you would have never known who Jimmy Dore was if it wasn't for TYT. Now, if that was me, if I got started on that network, and after getting started on that network, I mean, I know he was a comedian first, but like 400,000 subscribers or how many ever you got, it was from TYT. If Jimmy Dore just started a comedy routine online, nobody would have known who Jimmy Dore was. So, I would imagine if it's me, I would have some fondness for the organization that got me started on that one. So, and I've talked to Jimmy Dore. I asked Jimmy Dore a question on him and his relationship with TYT. And the impression that I got was, I didn't see any daylight. That's all. Like, I know on the show and everything else, Brazille is different. Meaning, what he talks about, he's a lefty. He's to the left. But that doesn't necessarily mean he has any bad feelings about the organization. That's what it is. Speaking of clown cars, Jamal's still driving that Mr. Bean car of his. Bob Ramirez. Actually, my car is still in the shop. I'm supposed to get it out tomorrow. It's not a clown car. It's a Mini Coupe. Those Mini Coupes are sexy. Or adorable. I think they're adorable. Zox Avux. Nah. With or without TYT, Jimmy would have come online on YouTube and got his own channel going. But certainly, him getting $200,000. 200,000 subscribers as a kickstart, just getting off of TYT is an amazing send-off. That's like saying Hillary Clinton being Secretary of State in no way catapulted her to be prepared to run for the presidency in 2016. Of course it did. That's the reason why she was put in that slot in the first place. So, all right. Nina Turner. Oh, somebody said Nina Turner. I love me some Nina Turner. A Moody, Arizona soapbox. They brought Nina Turner into the mix, referring to her and Donna as slum sisters. Whoa, who did that? Zoni Connie's the teachers union endorsed Hillary Clinton without asking any teachers. Well, the people who are in charge of the unions are a little bit different than the people who are in those unions themselves. That's the difference in those things. Zoxavix. I didn't mean it literally. I didn't mean 200,000 literally. I just meant it was a send-off. That's all I meant. Chad Wilson. But TYT has bad position. They're playing party politics. Jimmy would do much better if he separates, which I believe he already is. Oh man, I don't see it. I know you guys have a view of TYT, and you guys like Jimmy Dore, so you guys create a left between those things. But I don't think there's a left between those things. It's just a person with a perspective that's out of kilter with the rest of the channel. And I gotta be honest. If you were a computer program, and I put all of who you were onto software, and I could read each of those lines, and I could somehow compare your political leanings to the political leanings of like Uyghur or something like that, you'd be like 98% similar. You'd be 98% similar. Harvard, don't agree, Jamal. Lots of people have grown big without TYT. Yes, it helped. That was my only point. That it helped. Yes, it helped. Jimmy could have done on his own, and it's arguably that Jimmy added to TYT and helped make it successful. I never said he did. I never said he didn't. Jimmy Dore was one of the bright spots on TYT from the beginning. From the beginning that Jimmy Dore came on, Jimmy Dore was fucking awesome. And the reason why Jimmy Dore had that many subscribers when he started, Yes, he got to sell for TYT. TYT had like millions of subscribers. You can imagine that even if you get 10% of the subscribers that TYT had, you're starting off with like 200,000 subscribers. So I'm just saying, when he started, the number of people who knew who Jimmy Dore was empowered to some degree by being on a platform where you have 4 million subscribers. Or 3 million. Hell, let's say 2 million. Let's cut it down. I think it was 1 or 2 million. Let's cut it down. 2 million. That doesn't necessarily mean that Jimmy Dore didn't add to the show. Jimmy Dore did add to the show because Jimmy Dore was fucking awesome. But let's not pretend that those things aren't, it's not one or the other. It's both. Yes, having 2 million subscribers is a great send-off. Let's be honest. Call it what it is. You might not like the show, but come on. Terry J123, exactly, Jamal. Thank you. Got approval. Vox Alex, Pet Hacker. I just checkmate Jamal. Ouch. What? What are you talking about? Pet Hacker just checkmate Jamal. Jimmy isn't TYT anymore. Then you are Tim Black. TYT isn't Tim. Then you are Tim Black. I was on Tim Black for like 3 shows. Jimmy Dore has been on TYT for the past like 5 years. Come on. That's not a checkmate. That's not anything. I would like to hear the labor union discuss worker slows down or national strikes before they try blending it with Democratic and Republican politics. That's interesting. That's interesting. Now, yeah, so I would, if I was the labor unions, I would try to grow. Maybe not as a labor union, don't misunderstand me. Not necessarily, I would like to try to grow politically. Now, what I mean by that is, like, having, like right now, if you can get a certain amount of political alignment all throughout the United States, and with which, as a union, manpower is your thing. I mean, if you're looking to organize, unions is where you go, right? I mean, that's what I've always heard. They should have kicked the Democratic Party to the corner years ago. Honestly, when they dropped the ball and was like, and essentially that you have nowhere else to go, they should have said, yes, we do. You shouldn't be put on a leash in that way. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't give a shit who you are. You should not allow yourself to be put on a leash in that way. If you need to leave, leave. If you need to leave, leave. If they're going to treat you in such a way, if you're going to act in such a way towards you, leave. They get their feelings across based upon the way they behave towards you. Fuck out Dodge. Dodge. I stopped watching TYT, watched Jimmy Dore because TYT lost me a long time ago. They lost me in the Bernie thing. But I would like to think that the labor unions have already been co-opted. Not sure I do. Maybe the leadership, but that's because you can always bribe off the top. Same you're doing. Duke, New York, or Fix was already in. Lauren M's won. Well, the New York thing came out saying that it was a federal and state crime to get rid of the 120,000 people off the voter rolls. Federal and state crime. That's fucking amazing. That's amazing. All right, guys. This is run into almost Terry J123. I think the unions are finally waking up, but I guess they're not. I would like the unions to go further than that. Like, I would honestly, I always say this. I always say you plan in the shadows. Like, I don't think you should let everybody know what you're going to do, particularly if you're this group that's trying to take power or usurp power. I'll always believe it. I always believe it. When you're playing chess, you always try to obfuscate what you're actually doing in order to, not always. Some people are more direct and blunt. You're direct and blunt when a person can't do anything about it. I can make this move here because you can't do shit about it. Or when you have no other choice but to make that particular move. Labor unions, yeah, man, I wish they would have woke up a long time ago. That's all. That's all. I wish they would have thought more of themselves. That's all. Like, we're not willing to accept XYZ. Right now, they're going to live through perdition. They're going to live through perdition. It would have been a little bit easier to live through this had they not supported some of those guys early on. Or had they been willing to put their support behind somebody else. That's the other point. That's the other point. Interesting life insurance. Unions might have ally formally worker co-op. Yeah, there it is. Worker co-op. That's what I was going to say. They need to go further. Like, so, get political alignment initially, but when you take power, worker co-ops. If you want to rip the elites hard out, worker co-ops. That's not going to solve all your issues, by the way. Richard Wolff, I understand Richard Wolff. Richard Wolff is just trying to move the ball forward. worker co-ops. I asked Richard Wolff, I was like, this looks like you've taken away this idea of a totalitarian capitalist company and put it into a worker capitalist company. You still have this thing of capitalist little things battling other capitalist little things. That doesn't solve climate change. It doesn't solve all this, additional work for the sake of working. It doesn't really, there's a lot of issues that it doesn't solve. The one issue that it does solve is bleeding jobs. That's one issue it solves. The other issue is it gives workers control of the means of production. You get rid of the elites. You put a dagger in the heart of this idea of this one person being above you and somebody else. You normalize or equalize your society out. You don't do it in this vicious way. Worker co-op seems innocuous. I would imagine that part of the reason why Richard Wolff is pushing this is because it seems immensely innocuous, but the consequences are fucking gigantic. Consequences are massive. Like your society right now, and I know it keeps saying I'm quote, but I'll say it this way. I thought about Richard Wolff's worker co-op thing. This is what I'm talking about. It is insidious. It is insidious. I even say ingenious, even though I don't want to inflate Richard Wolff's ego too much, even though I know he's fucking awesome. I've always made the argument that if you wanted to change society, you couldn't necessarily do it in big and flashy ways right off the top. You need to do it in ways that are small, but again, insidious. Things that would have ramifications or repercussions that would cause changes that ripple throughout your society that are somewhat unforeseen by the masses initially, but the person who instituted it have thought out. Something like trickle-down economics, where you go on and on and on and come to find out, holy shit, 95% of the wealth is going to the top 1%. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew that when you gave money to the plutocrats, it was just going to stay with the plutocrats? Who knew? The person who instituted it knew. The public was just conned. Now, Richard Wolff's thing is better, of course. It's not trickle-down economics. It's actually better for the whole. If you're looking for a way to introduce communism into a system, worker co-ops is a great way to do it. And not only communism in the sense of this kind of Stalin-esque, not state capitalism. I mean, like this thing of people own the means of production. This just basic thing of how do you equalize a society where you don't have massive discrepancies in wealth. You have one guy with $40 billion and somebody else laying on the streets. How do you prevent that as a society? Well, one way to do it is making sure that you don't necessarily have these elites giving themselves massive amounts of cash. So if you had a worker co-op, would the CEO of a worker co-op give himself $10 million and have everybody else getting $10 or $12 or $13 an hour? No, because there is no CEO in this capacity. You have a bunch of people who essentially run the company. The workers themselves run the company. That's a massive difference. The amount of money and the share of the money gets higher because it's being divided by more people, and those people aren't necessarily, put it this way, there's no 1-2 person getting $10-20 million. You eliminate the elites from the equation. That's the point. It may be small, it may be this kind of small thing that ripples through your society, but you eliminate the elites from the equation. And those other companies are going to have to compete with their worker co-op. I would imagine the people at that worker co-op probably love their job. Or at the very least, they're getting more from that particular job. They're making more in compensation. I would imagine they themselves treat themselves better than some kind of totalitarian system itself. You're still going to have gripes and issues and everything else. And like I said, it doesn't solve all your issues. You still have this climate change catastrophe. You still have this thing where people are working jobs for the sake of just working a job. You have plenty of issues that are associated with it. But at the very least, the one that puts a dagger, or at the very least, bleeds out, and it's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? This slow drip. The elites. That's the point. Worker co-ops. Get rid of the elites. The workers can own the companies themselves. If that prospers and proliferates throughout the United States, you're eliminating the elites of your society. It's an attack on the upper class. Good job for Richard Wolff. I love it. Fucking love the idea. Now, you still have other problems, like I said, but at the very least, that very specific one, oh man, I love it. I love that. If you're looking for a way to rip the heart out of this this unfairness in your particular society, if you can institute a program where worker co-ops becomes the norm in your society, you've eliminated the elites from your society. So, gold star for Richard Wolff. Richard Wolff dreams of an ideal world. I love his vision. It's not utopia, but yeah, it's better. Democrats murdered labor with NAFTA. Yep, it tried to reinvigorate or reanimate the body and then murder it again with the TPP. Yeah. Bob Ramirez, hey, I'm eating. Don't talk about Hillary's juicy hands. Richard Wolff dreams of an ideal world of his vision. Tabitha Enriquez, exactly, Terry. They disciplined unions growing by sending jobs out of the country. Yes. Picturing Jimmy Dore, Rose Hill, and Donna. Oh man, I want to check that one out myself. Former party, they need not accept any current sitting Democratic politicians. Otherwise, we're just, yes, agreed. Barbara Ramirez said, thin candy shell around the dog rep center. Wolf's talk from the church in the Bronx is required viewing. Agreed. I love those monthly updates. Looking forward to that myself. And Moody Aries. Mark P. Co-ops plus free software movement. Global co-op franchises. That would be interesting. Yeah, man. This capitalistic model is not beneficial when you have open borders in this way. Not at all. Because what Bernie Sanders doesn't really want to tell you. Jamal, do you consider contributing to channels like Radio Sputnik? Tim Black and Benjamin Dixon are contributors occasionally to programs like Fault Lines hosted by Lee Stranahan or Garland Nixon. I know of Ben Nixon. I know of Tim Black. Like Radio Sputnik. I'm not certain what Radio Sputnik is. My bad. I don't know what Radio Sputnik is. And I completely forgot what I was saying. I saw that quote. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, global capitalism. Yeah, it's creaking it seems. So, Bernie Sanders, and even to some degree Jeremy Corbyn, you have open borders now. You don't have this thing where these corporations are constrained by the countries themselves. How are you going to constrain capital flight? And look, is it an issue? Is that even an issue? We get rich by fixing labor away, make it up in value. We don't have this issue with goods and products. Like, we have robots that can do the overwhelming majority of the work in our society. And as our technology increases, that will become higher and higher, meaning 90% of the jobs will be done by robots in just a few years. What can be done in just a few years. Bernie, FDR type inspired labor to be strong. Now that part I do agree with. I do believe. I believe if you had him in that office, man, I just think the Sanders that you see now will be different from the Sanders as a president. That's all. And I could be completely wrong on this. Just get me with my head in my ass. Garnome always said, oh, dude, you have a hard one for Sanders. Fair enough. But I have a feeling that because he's all around the country, even when he's not in office, he would probably behave in a similar fashion. So, I could be wrong. I could totally be wrong. Also, I'm curious. I would love to see how Pelosi and Schumer explain to their bases, explain to the people who are screaming at them and chanting at them why they're not passing the certain things that Sanders want. I would love to see that. Absolutely love to see that. Wherever they have robots, India, China, Vietnam, Mexico. Oh, I'm sorry. That's fucked up. It's true, but it's fucked up. Moody, Arizona Soapbox. Jimmy freaking Dore. Yeah, Jimmy Dore is fucking awesome. Trump wants to be Reagan with the tax cuts nostalgia. This is what Republicans love. It's not just wants to be Reagan. He's a Republican. He wants tax cuts. Cut those social programs. Give me my tax cuts. But you know this money is going to kids. Fuck those kids. I need my tax cut. Don't give a shit if that kid can eat or not. I got needs. I need my second yacht. Fuck that kid. Alright, I'm gonna kill it. Alright, guys. I enjoy this. Like I said, I always get a kick out of stories like this. I'm a horrible person, so yes, I get a kick out of stories like this. But I appreciate everybody for coming. I need to standardize this in some way, but I'm bad at standardizing it because I am unfortunately an Aries moon, and I do better in the moment that I do it. I'm going to make it at 8 o'clock, and then at 8 o'clock, it's like, oh, fuck. All right, I don't want to do it at 8 o'clock. So I try to do these when the feeling comes up, and it just so happens I enjoy doing them, so I do them often. at some point, I'm going to try to nail this down to a time frame. But pursuant to that, I appreciate you guys showing up. So, thanks everybody. Have a good one.